we were clearing out some stuff in the office not long ago, and I found a letter, bit of exchange correspondence from some former colleagues with the soon-to-be appointed Data Protection Commissioner under the 94 Act. So we were engaging with the very first Data Protection Commissioner before he'd even taken up office. And we've had a long history of close relationship with the Information Commissioner, the Data Protection Commissioner. And even, really, really practical working relationships with regular meetings. And that was a long part of our history. And we always regarded ourselves and still regard ourselves as a business that, tries to do the right thing and wants to work with our regulators to do the right thing. It's also important to mention in the context of regulators that, unlike some other tech businesses, we're also regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. We heard in the previous session from Sean, I think, at the DPC, saying how the obligation to cooperate with regulators is important. We actually have a code of conduct that applies to everyone in our business except catering and cleaners to cooperate with regulators. And so, we're in a slightly different industry from some others in the data space. We also have, for example, from the FCA, a new consumer duty coming out into force very, very soon. So those sort of things really play into us with our relationships. And of course, the other thing is that we know that the ICO is going to be our regulator going forward.
Yeah. So you were proactively engaging with the Information Commission in the run-up to 2018?
Yeah.
GDPR Day will be burnt into the brains of a lot of the pretty lawyers in here. So you were engaging with them on a frequent basis?
So we knew that GDPR was going to be a big deal. My role in the company then was slightly different, but we as an organisation, we spent a lot of time, and in fact, one of the things that we realised very early on is in connection with the Credit Bureau that we needed to increase transparency in this space. And I have a former colleague in the room here, Janet, today, who sort of had this brainchild idea of a common industry notification. And this was really a huge thing. I don't think any other industry still has come up with a common information notice approach. We worked not only with our two main competitors in this space, but we also worked very closely with the whole of the UK consumer finance industry through the Finance and Leasing Association and UK Finance and other bodies. And we also worked closely with the ICO in our approach to developing the crane and having a layered approach so that lenders include on their application forms and in their privacy policies details about how data will pass to a credit reference agency with links through to the crane. We set up a common approach to publicising this on our websites, and it was a very, very crucial thing, and we welcomed the feedback we had from the ICO as we were developing that. And also at the same time, I was just going to say, in connection with marketing services, we also produced a white paper about the use of legitimate interests in the space of direct marketing, and again we provided that to the ICO, and we sought to have a conversation about our thinking in that very early stuff, pre-GDPR coming in. And then we also at that point, for our marketing services business, we also started developing the first version of what we call our consumer information portal, the mechanism by which we aim to provide transparency to consumers about our marketing services business. And again, I don't see very many others in the space taking the same approach in terms of that level of information.
So we then get to the summer of 2018. You get that assessment notice.
Yeah.
So how do you react to that? What do you kind of think? Whoa.
Well, so the seeds of this investigation actually came out of one of the earlier topics today.
They did indeed, yeah.
And the ICO launched something which we understand was called Project Cederberg, which was a sectoral investigation looking at what they termed data brokers. And part of that previous activity was a parliamentary report, and the ICO said, we're going to do an investigation into data brokers, and they named us. and some others. So we knew this was coming. No one coming.